The question is, are you ready?
What do you guys want to talk about?
Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Hello, I've lost your audio again. How's it going? Everybody, if you guys can hear me, I'm not hearing you, Matt. So all of a sudden we've lost that audio again. I'm going to try to figure this out real quick. Please accept my apologies as to why this is happening. I don't understand it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. All right.
Okay. I actually had my audio muted during the opening montage and forgot to turn it back on.
Okay.
So that was on me.
I was like, here we go again. All right, great.
So anyway, let's take this from the top.
All right.
Throwdown Nation, we are live with episode 100 of the Throwdown. We are rolling on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter /X, Facebook, and Twitch. And today we are throwing down with Denver-based pro wrestler and owner/founder of Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling, Mr. Mercury Yaden. How you doing today, Mercury?
How are you guys doing? Sorry, well, what a mess it's been on my end. I'm going to hit my do not disturb on the phone here. Someone just tried to call me and it messed me up. How are you guys doing this afternoon?
Doing awesome, doing awesome. Definitely have been looking forward to this. And we'll just go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of this. And we'll start off with the first and most obvious question, and that is, how long have you been wrestling?
24 years now, I believe. 2001 is when I started, when I got trained and started kind of moving through this crazy world. So about 24 years.
Gotcha. So who actually trained you?
So my first trainer was a gentleman by the name of Jay Kilgore. He was a local independent wrestler out in Ohio. Started doing the backyard thing in '99, and we did that for a couple years. He came to one of our shows that we were doing. We had acquired a ring from a local promotion, and we were trying to just kind of train ourselves, do things ourselves. He showed up, saw our show, wanted to help us out, and kind of went from there. So my first official trainer was Jay Kilgore, good guy.
Gotcha. So, I'm presuming that you've been at least a fan of this stuff the majority of your life. Would you say that's accurate?
No, actually, I didn't really start getting any interest in wrestling until later into high school. Nobody in my family was into it. I didn't really watch it. I knew what it was. I had some friends that liked it, and it was cool enough. Like, I didn't have a problem with it, but I was a baseball, football kid. That's pretty much all I paid attention to. So it was a love that I discovered much later on, around 16, 17, and then I met some guys that did the backyard thing my senior year of high school. in early '99, and that's what really started me down the path of actually doing it. It really wasn't anything that I ever thought I wanted to do until I was almost out of high school. So it was kind of an accident, a good accident though.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So, tell us the story of how Rocky Mountain Pro came to be.
Well, we had a promotion out here called Fusion Pro Wrestling, and you can actually see we're at the school now. If you look down, like I have one of their old ring skirts there. That's the old Fusion. So that's where I wrestled most of my time out here. I moved out here from Ohio in early 2003. Met up with some guys, did some locals here, and a guy by the name of Jeff McCallis, Billy Roberts, and some others started Fusion, I think around '05. I could get my dates wrong here because, as you get older, everything just kind of mixes together. You can't remember where anything was. So I started working with Fusion, got retrained, or further training, I should say, by Jeff there at Fusion. And they ran the best shows in the state. It was the most professional, was the best training. And then they closed down around mid 2009. So I was talking with another friend of mine about starting something up. Before they'd even shut down, we had some ideas and some things that we wanted to maybe try to do. Once they shut down, it was a hole was left in wrestling out here in Colorado and in the Rocky Mountains. So I just decided that idea that my buddy and I had talked about going forward with it. And a lot of the guys from Fusion needed a place to go and something similar to what we had known. So we learned a lot from Jeff, Billy at Fusion. And we started NRW in June of 2010. And it was a collection of a lot of the old Fusion guys and then the guys from around here that we wanted to start building something around. And that was the genesis of this place.
Gotcha.
And we it was NRW at the time. So for our first 6 years, we were New Revolution Wrestling. So it was NRW until August of 2016.
Gotcha. Well, it was Marty Casaus that turned me on to you guys, and I've become a faithful weekly watcher, man, and you guys are really putting on some amazing matches and just some amazing storylines and everything else. And I tell anybody that'll listen, if you're not paying attention to Rocky Mountain Pro, you're missing out.
Well, I appreciate that. We try to give people, especially wrestling fans, another option. And on the independent level, it's hard to find a lot of TV. And we're very fortunate to have the opportunity to produce the TV the way we do. We have producers that are amazing here at Rocky Mountain Pro. They work really, really hard. They go above and beyond. And sometimes they do things where I'm like, you guys don't have to do that. And they're like, no, our names are on it. And we're creative. We want it to look as good as humanly possible. They really, really cut no corners here, and they make us look a lot better because of their work ethic. So it's nice to hear that from people that have found us and enjoy it every week. Because again, we want to give our fans an alternative or not an alternative, but another option. Because if you're a big wrestling fan, you can't get enough wrestling. So we want to give people something that's a little bit different. And that's what I mean by alternative. Like, okay, we got our own spin on it. We've kind of got the way we do it. And it just gives you a different wrestling show to enjoy each week.
Gotcha. So I know you've got D'Lo Brown as one of your trainers out there. How did that come about?
Just a friendship that we had struck up when I worked at TNA back in 2012 and 2013. I was the talent relations manager there, so I was around him quite a bit. And several years after I had moved back here and started the school end of Rocky Mountain Pro in 2014, he came out to the quarry where we are now and just did a few seminars. And I reached back out to him and asked him to come out. And we just kind of kept communicating, and then we bring him out for some shows, and then it kind of just turned into a monthly thing where he comes out to help us with training and help us with agenting the shows. And he's a character on the shows now. So you see D'Lo there quite a bit on charge. So it started back in 2012 just with the working relationship in the office there at TNA, and it's developed into what it is now.
Gotcha. And I've heard that there is at least some peripheral involvement on the creative end with Vince Russo. Is that accurate, or is that not
There
accurate?
was. Russo and I met each other, started working together in 2016. That's when we actually changed the name to Rocky Mountain Pro. So we can credit Vince for that. He just brought it up to me. Would you consider it? And we felt Rocky Mountain Pro was a stronger name, more memorable name than New Revolution Wrestling. He worked with us from 2016 to 2018, came back briefly in 2022, and then most recently was with us from about June of 2024 till January of this year. So he's no longer creatively involved, but still a good friend. Still talk to him quite a bit. So who knows? He's been back here in the past, and we got a good working relationship. So you may see him down the road.
Awesome. And watching lately, you are in a very compelling long-term story arc with Damon Ace. Do you have any words to say on that?
What am I doing to myself? That's what I've got to say to that. It's exciting. It makes you think. I'm 43 years old. I kind of go back and forth on whether I want to keep competing in the ring, and it's obviously I get pulled back in and I get the itch, and when I do it, I want to give it all I got. So I'm currently trying to get myself into the best condition I can, and really discipline myself a little bit more to drop the weight that I allowed myself to gain, and trying to hang with somebody over a decade and a half younger than you is already difficult enough. If you're not keeping yourself in good shape, then it makes it even harder. So it's exciting, and hopefully, like you said, compelling. Hopefully, it's exciting to fans, and it's something interesting for them that makes me want to continue forward with it. But not as easy as it used to be. That's for sure.
No. I'm 55, and let me tell you, the 50s have been a strange time, man. Your body starts doing weird stuff.
Yeah.
I've thrown my back out sneezing, just weird things, man. So you've got a lot to look forward to.
Right. Yeah, I know. Thanks. And I've done my body a lot of favors along the way, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So, speaking of all of that, what does your family think of all of this?
They're used to it now. It was out of nowhere for them. I come from a family of five, so none of the siblings that I knew of were really into wrestling either. It just kind of came out of left field. Later in my senior year of high school, '99, and they didn't quite understand why I wanted to do it, because I wrestled in high school, but I was still really not that interested in professional wrestling at that time. So it was kind of an out of nowhere thing, and I was obviously, or not obviously, but I was definitely more involved with more hardcore stuff, and kind of I'm hurting myself or taking unnecessary risks to get a reaction back then. And of course, you're trying to show your parents this stuff, and it's like, we don't want to watch you hurt yourself, without really, the understanding that you get over time on what you should do, what this is really about, to tell a story. So before I really understood that, to them it was this weird kind of hobby that I'd found that I enjoyed, and it wasn't this thought that I would ever make a living with it. But I hung in over time, and when I moved out here and got for that further training from Jeff, and we started working with Fusion, which it looked a lot more professional, and they would come to some of those shows, and I remember my mother making a comment like, "Wow, this looks really professional. This is good." I think around that time, '05, maybe '06, they started to feel like, okay, he's really making a go at this. And then as I really started to try to get out more and got some opportunities, they've always been very kind, and to let me know that they're proud of me for sticking with this, and that they didn't understand it at first, but they put it over to other people, let people know what I do. So they don't shy away from it. My siblings have all been very supportive, think it's cool, come to the shows, bring nieces and nephews, things like that. So they're very supportive of what I do. So I'm very fortunate.
Very cool. So outside of wrestling, what person inspires you the most, and why?
It'd be my parents, my mother and father. They're 3 days apart, so they both celebrate their birthdays around the same time. And we were just fortunate enough to have we had a surprise birthday dinner for the both of them on Tuesday, and just being able to be around them and see them. They've been together since they were 16 years old. You know, they raised five of us, and everything in their lives was about making their kids' lives better. So those two are my inspiration above everything else. They've been amazing to all of their kids and still are to this day. So yeah.
Gotcha. So, they say that the best wrestling persona is essentially yourself turned up to 11. So, tell us about in-ring Mercury and sort of compare and contrast him with everyday you.
It's very similar now, more similar now than it ever has been. And Russo really is the one that got this rolling. As far as me really leaning into who I really was, my struggles in running the school, all the way back then, and the promotion. If you watch earlier Rocky Mountain Pro Charge stuff, I'm from 2016ish, 2017. Like, my daughter will pop in here and there, so she's a part of the stories because she's the most important thing in the world to me, and Vince would include a lot of that, and you'd see a lot of that real life conversations that we have, because that little girl has seen me go through the ups and downs of this, and as it builds, and so that's utilized a lot in the product itself. So now more than ever, it's pretty much right there, dead on. Like I said, you turn it up a little bit. There's been iterations of what I do in ring that are completely opposite of what I do. And when I was with Mars and we were Deorum and it was Mercury and Mars, and I had wings on my boots and did more of the Roman god thing, a little more pomp and circumstance. That wasn't as much me like you would see now. But now more than ever, it's definitely very close. So what you see is what you get with me on screen.
Gotcha. So, over 2 decades of doing this, it may be hard to narrow it down, but can you tell us about a favorite match that you have participated in?
Favorite match that I've participated in would be difficult to narrow down. Things off the top of my head. There was a series of matches I did with a gentleman named Severino Corrente. He was one of our students at the school. I think I was like his second major kind of feud here at Rocky Mountain Pro. And I did a match with him that started in the mountains, and we actually fought in a river and then worked our way down to the arena, and then it spilled into the ring while another match was going on. So as far as memorable matches, I'd say that one is definitely up there. It was a good time. And of all the series of 5 we did, that was definitely the most memorable one. And it's something, obviously, first thing that comes to mind when I think about matches like that. So.
Well, that was cinematic before cinematic was cool.
right, yeah.
So, and I know everybody has them, but what is your biggest in-ring pet peeve?
I guess there's a lot of them, but if you'd think I'd be able to just name one quickly if there was a lot of them, right? Just doing things that don't make sense, like that, not really trying to think through like why you're doing what you're doing. So, and I know that could be a multitude of things. It kind of almost sounds like a cop-out answer, but just not thinking of why you're doing it, and just doing something because you feel like, okay, I got to do something now, so I'm going to do this thing, whether it's a move or slap something that you don't have an actual thought as to why you would do that in that situation. That's probably the closest thing to a pet peeve that I would have.
Gotcha. And from the perspective of a promoter as well as a wrestler, do you think it is more important for somebody to be great in the ring or great on the mic?
If you're trying to sell tickets on the mic, if the goal is to get the most amount of people to either watch you online on TV, and then hopefully from that motivate them, especially to come down to a live event. I definitely think being a good, and I would assume you mean on the mic, not just I got a promo in the middle of the ring, but like your vignettes, your things like that, where you're selling yourself in the promotion and everything and what's going on. Definitely think that the mic skills are paramount to selling the product itself.
Gotcha. So over the years, have you developed a preference between working heel or babyface?
Not really. I think I have had an easier time working heel. It just seems like there's a little more flexibility in what you're doing, but as far as what I prefer, I enjoy them both. I do enjoy being a heel. Like obviously, getting that reaction is fun, and I enjoy the opportunity to get someone else the positive reaction in the direction, and being a good heel in that sense. Really, I take a lot of pride in that. So I don't know if I could really pick though, because being a babyface can be a lot of fun too. So I don't know if I really have a preference in that.
Gotcha. So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? A match that you can have watched it a million times and it just never gets old, and there's always some new little something you can pull from it.
Yeah, I don't know. The one that I can think of the most is one you're going to hear a lot, and it's Savage Steamboat WrestleMania 3. Savage is my favorite wrestler of all time, so that one's in there. But a lot as I progressed through wrestling, I found I really enjoyed watching anything William Regal and anything Kurt Hennig were doing. Like that style is my favorite style. And kind of the way they put everything together. And that goes back to when we talked about pet peeves and why you're doing what you're doing and how you should always be thinking about, does this make sense in this situation? Like you really pull a lot of that from those matches. So if I had to just pick one match, it would be, Savage, Steamboat, WrestleMania 3. Like that's a classic, obviously. But if I were to sit and watch a bunch of matches over and over again, it'd probably be in that area of something that Regal or Hennig would have done. I'm sorry for all the noise back here. We're shooting a commercial today, so there's a lot going on over here.
Oh, I get it. So here, and doing this for 2 decades, you've probably had the opportunity to do some of this. But who would be, as far as somebody that you have yet to share a ring with, who would be a dream opponent? And this can be present day or past.
Probably Savage.
Gotcha. And overall, do you have a favorite move, something you just really enjoy doing? And on the flip side of that, is there a move that you won't do or you would at least prefer not to do? And that can be giving or receiving.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the double underhook, elevated DDT, kind of like an impale. That's what I've used as a finish since I started. So I would say that's definitely up top. This is one of my favorites to do. I don't like taking belly to back suplexes. I got dumped on my head on 3 different occasions, and it's something I will take. I can take it, but there's just something you get a little nerves just because of past experience on no belly to back. So there's just something off about that for me.
No doubt. And I'm sure a lot of it has to do with who you're working with too,
Exactly.
As far as how competent they are and all of that. So
I'll give the belly to back all day. It's just taking it. I'm not the biggest fan.
Gotcha. So and I'm sure this applies. What hurts right now?
What hurts right now?
Yeah.
Oh my God, everything.
I was gonna say what doesn't hurt.
Right. Yeah. That'd be a shorter list, right? I dealt with some neck issues a few years ago, and that's loosened up pretty good. So I got a nagging shoulder issue that just keeps catching, and when I feel like it's better, if I bump it just wrong, like it kind of aggravates me. I got a significant knee bruising from the match I had with Damon Ace a couple weeks ago at Beer Shot. I decided to knee the backrest of a folding chair, and it's kind of caused me some discomfort. So that's the worst one right now. That and the shoulder. But you know what? I think I'm hanging in there all right.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So what is your role? What is your take on the role that social media is playing as a promotional tool in wrestling?
It's invaluable at this point. You know, I'm not a huge fan of using social media myself. I have used it for years. Like I'm not, I don't hate it, but I wouldn't utilize it probably if I didn't run Rocky Mountain Pro. I didn't have things to promote on the promotional end though, and getting brand awareness out there and reaching people that you might not be able to reach normally without that avenue. It's instrumental. It's something that everybody needs to, whether they like it or not and want to be on it or not. I do think it's imperative. It's important for them to go on and get used to understanding how to post things, what to put, when to do it. And that's something I'm trying to learn a lot more of too. So it's a very, very important tool, and it gives us a lot more opportunities to get our content out there. You know, this is a time where people like us that have this TV show, we don't have a big budget, we don't have a network deal, but it gives us an opportunity to get more out there and drive people to see the show on the different platforms through social media clips and things like that. So you definitely can't undersell the importance of social media currently.
Gotcha. So knowing everything you know at this point in your life, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Uh, Go for it sooner. Don't sit around waiting for them to come to you. Because I did a lot of that in my first decade. I thought I was going to get found, and I didn't take it as serious as I should have as far as getting myself out there to more places and getting in front of more people. I burned a lot of years just being comfortable, being told I was really good here, and not getting out there and getting people to discover me and getting myself in front of the decision makers, or at least people that know the decision makers. That would be my biggest piece of advice to the younger me and anybody just getting into it. Don't sit around and think you got tomorrow all the time, because these years go really, really fast, and then suddenly you're fighting the age issue. So yeah, I would say get out there, hit the ground running, and don't stop until you get what you want.
Gotcha. So over the years, I'm sure there's been a lot, but I'm hoping one will come to mind, and that is, what has been one of your most unusual encounters with a fan?
Unusual
Yeah.
encounters with a fan. I don't know if I have any good ones really that are sticking out. I mean, you get plenty of drunk fans that say dumb things, or won't let you leave after the show, and they tell you how awesome you guys did over and over again, and that happens. As far as unusual encounters with a fan, I don't really have any that come to mind that I can think of off the top of my head. About 10 minutes after we're done, something will hit me. But yeah, as of right now, I can't really think of anything.
Well, that's cool. So do you have any pre-show traditions, any things that you try to do consistently before you walk through the curtain?
Not really. I need enough time to kind of get my mind right, but I'm just more quiet, and your standard kind of walking around, moving around, trying to get a little warm. I honestly don't probably warm up as much as I should. I do, because I've never had a specific pre-match routine ever. So there's really nothing. It's usually, at least for us, I'm trying to get my boots on with very little time left and get them laced up, and because I've been doing other stuff, and I still got to go do this and that. So it can get pretty hectic as I'm trying to get things on there. But there's really no set ritual that I have that I've ever done.
Gotcha. Well, something that we've done in all of these that's just been kind of fun is we've let the current guest pose a question for the next guest. And my previous guest was a Canadian female wrestler, and her gimmick is that she is an escapee from the nursing home. She goes by the name Bad Nanny.
Okay.
And the question that she posed for you is, have you ever done something in the ring that you regretted? And if so, how did you cope with it?
Anything that I've regretted. That's
It's an
a good
interesting
question.
question, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there's times when I would go, oh, I didn't do this, or I should have done this when I did that. But I would assume that's not what she's getting at. If there's something where I was just like, oh my God, that was a terrible idea, or I'm ashamed of that, or I guarantee I have. I'm just trying to think now what that possibly could have been. God, I don't know. That is a good question. She stumped me. And I know there's plenty of examples. I just can't think of them right now. Anything in the ring that I've done that I regret? Because again, I'm trying to not answer it with, I should have rolled him up for a finish instead of done the finish because it's like, that definitely takes some thought. And it would probably be along the lines of a dive or something that was unnecessary that I did. That was like, okay, I didn't even, and I hurt myself or I tweaked something, and you just go, why did I even do that? Like that was completely unnecessary. That would be something that I can't think of any specific examples of that. I've done too much in a match where you go, I did way too much. I tried to overdo it. I shouldn't have done that. So that type of stuff, I can look back up and go, we were asked to do this type of match, but I really overdid it, like a street fight, for instance. And then there was one time, I guess the best example I could think of was Russo was with Corrente, the program that we did, and the first match in it was Sicilian street fight, and threw everything at him but the kitchen sink, included the barricades, and the way that worked out as the first match, it was way too much for what we were trying to do, and it made it harder as we went along. So if I could think of it, that would probably be something that I would go, man, I wish I could go back and change that, or I wish I'd have backed off of that a little bit and given us something else to go to, because I really I basically wrestled a finale of a feud match to start the feud. So that would be the best thing right now, being on the spot that I could think of. I hope that makes sense, and maybe that answers the question. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. And, I've got to put Bad Nanny over for a second. She was really an interesting character. She started training as a wrestler at age 47, and she is now 51 and doing this old lady gimmick that is just hysterical. So
working really good.
If you ever get the chance to check her out, do it.
I will,
she
definitely.
So, this is part of a series. So, do you have a question that you would like to pose to the next guest?
A question that I would want to pose to the next guest. I'm trying not to do your kind of standard, what would you do different? Or your, How long does it usually take people to come up with these questions?
It really varies. I mean,
if I stand here and think, I'm going to be like, come on.
If you can't come up with something right now, you can always email me or DM me something. I don't have to have it this moment.
Can you honestly say, as you're looking at your career and things that you're trying to accomplish in your life, whether it's wrestling or anything else, that each day you've done everything that you possibly can do to achieve the goal? I know that kind of sounds like, self-helpish type of stuff, but I find myself a lot debating with myself, like when I say I did my best. Well, did you really do your best? Did you really take every second you could to further this goal, this to progress towards your goals? So I guess my question would be, as you sit around and you talk about where you want to get in life or wrestling, every day, are you really truly doing everything you can, or are you doing a lot and maybe you're working really hard, but you know that there's still room to improve and do more to discipline yourself to achieve the goals you want? So yeah, I would say that would be my question. Are you truly doing everything you can to get where you want to get, or are you just telling yourself and everybody else that you are?
That is a really good question, and to effectively answer that is going to require some introspection on the spot. So,
Well, and the
very
answer is
cool.
usually no. I think like I ask
Yeah,
myself that all the time, and I go, no, I could have filled this time better. When I sat there for 10 minutes, I could have done something else, whatever. So yeah, it is something that will make you think a little. It always makes me think. So that'll be what I will pose to the next guest.
gotcha. Well, we're getting toward the end of things now, and I've done kind of an abbreviated version of this, trying to be respectful of your time because I know that you've got some stuff going on, and you guys have Never Broken coming up.
Correct. Correct.
So give us some hype about that.
So tomorrow night on YouTube live, hoping that we had some mice or rats or somebody that decided to make their way into the production room and eat all of the buttons on our switcher. So we kind of need that to do a live pay-per-view. I think the production guys have figured out how to make this work. But hopefully, fingers crossed, tomorrow night it'll be the pre-show will start at 6 p.m. Mountain, so 8 Eastern. And it'll be on YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch will be where that pre-show is airing. And then at 7 p.m. we roll over to the pay-per-view, which you can get by becoming a member to the pay-per-view membership tier on our YouTube channel. And Never Broken from about 7. You're probably going to get a couple hours there. Here at the Quarry in Golden, we got some great matches coming up there. Damon Ace is defending his title against Ice Williams, who's a WWE ID talent, so he's going to be back in town. We have a WWE ID official match. Timothy Thatcher is back here at Rocky Mountain Pro, and he is taking on Cappuccino Jones. So there's a lot going on. All the titles are up for grabs tomorrow. And again, if you're on YouTube, go over there, and if you subscribe at the membership or the pay-per-view membership tier, you can get the pay-per-view. And that comes with all the pay-per-views each month.
Nice. I absolutely love Timothy Thatcher.
Yes, I don't know. I haven't met anybody yet that doesn't. So, and it was phenomenal. I was fortunate enough to be able to call some of the action on commentary the last time he was here when he wrestled Gal. So it was pretty phenomenal. So getting to watch him work again is going to be a real treat.
Oh, for sure. So as far as what we've got coming up, this Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, I've got episode 101 with a Georgia-based pro wrestler and deathmatch specialist by the name of Nathan Mowry. And then Wednesday, the 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern, I've got episode 102, and I've got members of... They bill themselves as the largest faction in professional wrestling. They're from Canada, and they're called Moment of Truth. I'm going to have about 10 of them on at the same time. So that'll be like herding cats, I'm sure, but it'll be fun.
Good time.
And then Thursday, the 27th at 7, I've got episode 103 with the Rockin' Moroccan Monday Night Mo Malik. So that's what we've got coming up. Mercury, I want to thank you for your time. And,
thank you. Appreciate it.
And, for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that'll be seeing this on replays, thank you for that. If you like what we've got going here, do the old like, comment, share, and subscribe. And before we wrap this up, do you have any final words, Mercury?
Yeah, I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate the invite. It's always great to get to do these. We really enjoy getting the word out about Rocky Mountain Pro, and everybody's probably figured out as this went along, I like to talk, and I talk a lot. So getting the opportunity to share my story and share everyone's story here, and it's very motivating when people let us know that they like what we're doing. So you give us a platform to reach more people and talk about what we're doing here at Rocky Mountain Pro. And last thing, if anybody's watching this that's in Wyoming, in the Cheyenne area or northern Colorado, we will be in Cheyenne, Wyoming again at the Event Center at Archer on Saturday, and we're taping multiple episodes of Charged. Al Snow is in town, So he'll be the special guest there. D'Lo will be there. Martin Casaus will be there, and it's always a good time there in Cheyenne. So we're excited to kind of expand up into Wyoming. We want to hit all the Rocky Mountains. So if you're anywhere in those areas we're at, please come say hello and check us out, and keep following Matt here, because I love what you're doing, and we do appreciate the fact that you take the time to talk to us about what we've got going on.
Well, I appreciate that, man, and like I said, you guys have a lot to be proud of with Rocky Mountain Pro. It is just top notch, and I will sing that to my dying day, man. You guys really have a great product.
We appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And I'll be back Monday night, like I said, at 7 o'clock. And between now and then, be good to each other.